Hi everybody, it's Anthony from ComicsEatingUp.net. I'm back with Terry Hockness from Hockness Comics, and we're going over this week's hot new comics. So Terry, why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Our first pick this week is Animosity, #1. It is the 5th printing. It's the final printing. It's got new cover artwork sponsored by Frankie's Comics. And of course, this has been one of the hottest comics of the year. All the printing selling out. But of course, nobody's going to be surprised with this one. So this one may not heat up. It's going to depend on whether they overprint it or not. So I'm going to give it a 50-50, but let's go for it. Let's give it a thumbs up, just in case.
Animosity #1 5th print does have new cover art. It was sponsored by Kevin at Frankie's Comics. It was a good idea to get the 5th and final printing to have new cover art. This one is going to have a pretty small print run. The 4th print never really made it into stores. Some stores got them, most stores got 3rd prints. The 4th print, I think, is definitely the cover to have, even though this one does have the cool new cover. For me, it's a thumbs up. I've gotten all the reprints, so I might as well go for the 5th one. Keep the collection going. But the new cover art's definitely going to be a draw, as will the small print run.
In the past year, all of the main Archie titles have been relaunched with new ongoing series. Reggie and Me is back. There is 10 different regular variant covers. No surprises here. So this is probably just a good long-term pick. I'm going to give it thumbs up. Long-term, short-term, not a chance.
Reggie and Me #1. I really like the book. I think it's going to be one of those things that's going to be a long-term book. It's not going to be something that pops up right away. Some of the variants might get some heat to them, but most likely it's going to be kind of stagnant and being a long-term grower. Reggie and Me is kind of a cool, different story because Reggie is a jerk. The Archie world is so nice, except for Afterlife with Archie and The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. So to have a book focused on a villain, if you will, I think it's a good concept. Is it going to be a short-term flip? No, it's not. Is it going to be a long-term grower? Absolutely.
Avidar Press puts out some of the best looking high quality color books, and one of them is Uber, and it's back with Uber Invasion, a bunch of variant covers, controversial adult material here, but a lot of fun to read and always looks amazing. But I don't think there's going to be any surprises here, so I'm going to have to give it a thumbs down from a speculator point of view.
All right, so Uber is back. It was a good story. In alternate World War, Nazi Germany and the Russians and the English and the Americans were all coming out with their own super soldiers. However, the book kind of lost me after a while. Not that I couldn't follow the story, it just wasn't very interesting to follow anymore. So it is coming back, and the problem with it is there's going to be a million covers, and they'll keep releasing covers after after the first print has been released. They did it with Uber 1. They're going to do it with the second volume of Uber. For me, this one's a thumbs down.
Jim Henson, Storyteller Giants, is the latest from Boom Studios. Writer and artist Connor Nolan. Lots of fans for Jim Henson, but there's been a lot of Offspring series here, and I don't see this being a surprise speculator hit, so I'm going to give it a thumbs down.
Jim Henson's Storyteller, they've been a great read, and honestly, these are books that I read to my kids. Or some of them at least. They've got great art. They read like storybooks almost. Really good stories. Is it a spec pick? Nah, it's not. I have to give it a thumbs down too, Terry.
Action Lab gives us one of the best looking books of the week, The Circle, #1. This looks really cool. I don't think this is going to have a big chance of heating up, but I do think it looks like a great book. And so from a reader's point of view, I think this is a fun one to get.
The Circle, and anything Action Labs in general, tends to have small print runs. Action Labs puts out some great books, and I wish they would get some love from the spec community. The Circle is a great premise. It's a good-looking book. It will have a small print run. Will it bite in with speculators? I'm not sure, but I'm looking forward to this as a reader. As a spec book, I'm going to give it a 50-50 shot. Again, there's been some great series like The Final Plague that just never got the attention it deserved from the spec community. So 50-50 shot on this one.
Action Lab Danger Zone also gives us a new Voracious miniseries called Feeding Time. The last Voracious series did heat up, but I don't expect that to happen a second time around. Artist Jason Murr on this one, kind of a cool title. I'm going to give it thumbs down, though, from a speculator point of view.
Voracious Feeding Time. The first Voracious series, like you said, did heat up a little bit. It didn't last long. The heat wasn't a long burn. So I'm not seeing this being a long-term spec. It was a great story, and if you haven't read Voracious, it's a guy who essentially inherits a time machine, goes back in time, kills some dinos, brings back meat, has a restaurant, serves it up. People love his cooking. Really cool story, great concept. But as a spec pick, I'm going to give this one a thumbs down.
Wonder Woman, Bionic Woman 77. Here's a very cool team up that's been waiting for 40 years to happen. This is one of my favorite picks of the month for just coolness. However, do I think it's going to heat up? No, I think the odds are unlikely, but it might be a long-term pick, and there is a bunch of variant covers, and it is possible that the rarest of the variants could be a surprise hit overnight.
Wonder Woman, Bionic Woman crossover. This is something that, the 6-year-old boy in me was just screaming 4 years ago. It never happened. This is one of those characters that kids in the 80s, or two of the characters that kids in the 80s just really enjoyed on TV. They were just cool series, both of them. Is it a spec pick? No. The Alex Ross Virgin variant cover is doing well. Or doing okay. I think it's a $40 book at the moment. The Fried Pie variant is going to have about 300 copies, and that might be where you want to look for if you're looking to spec on this. But the regular cover is probably not going to hit. So I'm going to give this one a thumbs down.
Transformers More Than Meets the Eye Revolution, another tie-in to the Revolution series from IDW Comics. I don't expect any of these to be a surprise hit, more than what retailers already know they can sell. So I'm going to give this one a thumbs down, but of course will be a long-term popular read.
Transformer More Than Meets the Eye Revolution. This is going to hit with the hardcore Transformer fans and people who are following the series. Is it going to be a spec pick? Not at all. I just don't see it just growing. So I'm going to give this one a thumbs down. But it will have its audience, and, like Terry said, a lot of people know what they can sell on these books.
Image Comics has been on a hit-winning streak lately. Motor Crush is their latest, from writer Brendan Fletcher. Babs Tarr doing the artwork. Image is no longer overprinting the books, which guarantees this is going to sell out and go to a second or third printing, which, of course, if word of mouth on this book is good, this could be a super hot book in a few months down the line.
Motor Crush #1 from Image Comics is sold out at Diamond at the distributor level, and we'll probably hear an announcement for a second print tomorrow. Stores know what they can sell for new Image #1s, and they'll definitely push an Image #1. The creative team was at Baltimore this year at the retailer summit, handing out signed copies of the preview issue. That's the copy, the copy of the book that you want to spec on if you're going to spec on it. Like I said, this book will get a second printing. Stores will have them for a little while. So the main #1, either the Babs Tarr or the variant cover, you should be able to find for a little bit. It is a good story. Give it a read.
The Walking Dead 161 is out this week. Well, we always seem to mention this book every single week because there's always potential long-term interest in this book. Almost every Walking Dead issue, whether a key issue or not, has gone up in value as collectors and fans of the TV show switch over. Print runs are actually pretty small on this series overall. They've never got to high numbers. They're high for the comic industry, but really not that high in comparison to the viewership on TV. So when there is a bit of buzz, these issues sell out and guaranteed to heat up. So should you pick this up? Yeah, it's a safe bet. For $2.99, you should pick up copies of The Walking Dead because you never know.
Walking Dead #161, always a good pickup. Pick up Walking Dead books. This is the 5th of 6 parts of the Whisperer War. The Whisperers will be coming to TV. It's just a matter of when. This is just kind of, it's not a filler issue. I've read the issue, but it definitely isn't heavy on the action. We don't see any major deaths. Carl takes a beating. You can go to my website, www.comicseatingup.net, for the spoilers. But Walking Dead's always a thumbs up. These books turn into $10 wall books down the line. Give them a couple of months once they sell out at the retailer level. So the Walking Dead 161 is always going to be, Walking Dead in general is always going to be a thumbs up for me, but 161 is definitely a thumbs up for me as well.
Marvel has a big week, launching a bunch of new #1s, including now Nova. So Nova gets another series. This is Nova's 40th anniversary. This is going to sell out at Diamond. It'll go to a second printing for sure. Do I think it's going to sell out? No, not likely. Most Marvel books don't, unless, again, there's a surprise word of mouth. So I'll give this one a thumbs down. There will be a bunch of variant covers that could prove to be popular long term.
Marvel Now Nova #1. I read it. And much like the Ghost Rider #1, I just didn't like it. Not because I'm not a big fan of Marvel, just the art was very cartoony. The story was a little bit convoluted and hard to follow. It just didn't hit for me. Some of the variant covers definitely were, what you want to look at. The Matina 150 cover is definitely going to be a pickup. However, the regular issue, it's a thumbs down. So look for the variants to be the ones to spec on. However, the regular covers are thumbs down for me.
Slapstick #1 comes out, and there's a bunch of variant covers, including a 1 in 50 Rob Liefeld variant cover, and even a 1 in 100 sketch variant. That means retailers had to order 100 copies of the regular cover just to qualify to get one of the black and white sketch cover, which features Deadpool. So this is a very good chance that this will be a long-term pick. Print run's going to be fairly small on this one, and Deadpool fans usually hunt these out over time. So definitely a long-term pick for me.
Slapstick #1 with a 1 in 100 variant. I don't know how many retailers are going to order 100 copies of Slapstick. The Rob Liefeld variant might be worth picking up, but the regular copy of Slapstick is a thumbs down on the spec, as a spec pick for me, or as a spec book for me. If you can get the variants cheap, by all means grab them and flip them. But the regular book is not going to go anywhere. I do have a theory on these books, books like Solo and Slapstick. I have a feeling that Marvel's moving towards a reboot again, like a full reboot, and not just like the soft Marvel Now stuff that they're doing. But I think they're going to go back to a full reboot and reboot the Marvel Universe. So characters like this, they need cannon fodder. So they're giving these characters a series so they can kill them off. And that's just my wild speculation on what Marvel Universe is going to do and why Slapstick has a book and Slapstick has a 1 in 100 variant.
Star Wars Dr. Aphra debuts as a new ongoing series. There is a ton of variant covers from Marvel and from store exclusives. And this comes out on the heels of Darth Vader being cancelled and giving Dr. Aphra her own focus. So, do I think this is going to be a surprise hit? No. Star Wars comics always have massive print runs. There's no surprise new Star Wars fans that come in. So this book is not going to heat up. Will it sell out? Definitely will. It'll go to a second or a third or a fourth printing, because that's what happens with Star Wars comics. And Marvel likes that. It's a good marketing strategy. So I'm going to give it thumbs down there from a speculator point of view.
Star Wars Dr. Aphra #1 is definitely a good pickup. We ran spoilers for the book at comicseatingup.net, and it does introduce a new character who is very closely related to the Doctor. In the book, they keep referring to her as Miss. You'll have to find out why they refer to her as Miss. But it's a good story. For a Star Wars book, it's fairly lighthearted, and there's some comedic elements in it. Overall, it's a good read. For me, the spec pick on this is definitely going to be the one per store variant, or the Frankie's Comics variant, or the Brain Trust variants. The Brain Trust variants are selling really well on eBay right now in sets for like $50-$60. 3 really good covers by Ashley Witter. So that's where I'm lying. Overall, I think the book is a thumbs up for me, though.
And our final pick this week is Norman the First Slash. This is a new series from Titan Comics. It's a spin-off of the popular Norman series that came out earlier this year, which was a big speculator hit and heated up and jumped up in value. But it's not likely going to happen too much the second time around. It might just be a little bit, could have a little bump overnight, and that's probably about it. There's a bunch of variant covers, as Titan loves to publish a whole bunch of covers. So I'll give this a small chance, but more likely a thumbs down for being a good book that's going to heat up.
I have to agree with you on Norman, Terry, that this new series is not going to heat up. Not like the first one did. The first one kind of caught people off guard and was a little bit hard to find. The A and B covers didn't ship at the same time, and since they didn't ship at the same time, people were looking for both covers, and you tend to pay more for things that you can't find, so people who had the covers were able to sell it for more, and that's where the heat on the first series came from. I don't see Norman the First really getting the heat that it had in the first go around. Well, guys, thanks for watching. That's it for us this week. Please feel free to let us know what you want to see, what you like, what you don't like, if there's any topics you want us to talk about. So feel free to hit us up in the comment section, or hit us up in the comment sections over on comicseatingup.net. Thanks for watching.